Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite movies, Beetlejuice by Tim Burton. Now, this is a movie that I grew up with. It wasn't my introduction to Tim Burton movies. I'd seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure already, okay, and I loved it. It's a movie that as a kid I would watch over and over again. And then I did the same thing with Beetlejuice when I discovered it. It really, there was something about that movie that I had never seen anything like it before. And honestly, I didn't see anything like it since. You know, a few movies I've tried to kind of mimic the kind of vibe that Tim Burton presented here, but it's such a unique film that it's just like no one ever managed to do it the same way again. It really stands alone as one of those comedies that they're just so iconic, so like unparalleled. You know, it's just like one of a kind. Now, what I love about this movie is like it's awesome from the first second. Okay, like it starts and you know you're watching a cult movie right away. You know you're watching something that is gonna be special. It starts off with this kind of opening title, which is really cool. But the opening title sequence is, you know, it's a showcase of Danny Elfman's genius. Like it really is. You've got this camera that's like panning over this little town, and it looks like a model, but I think it's actually a little town, okay, that the film is set in. And Danny Elfman's piano kind of theme, doom, 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 it's so, again, I've never heard anything like it before or since. Okay, people have tried to mimic that, you know, that kind of vibe. You know, this is when really, like, I would say Danny Elfman really came into his own. Like, he was awesome. His work in Pee-wee's Big Adventure was awesome, but this is when I think Danny Elfman really had a lot of fun with it. And he just got the whole vibe of Beetlejuice so freaking well. The movie begins and you're already down. You're like, hell yeah, let's get into this. And the genius of the kind of panning shot of the town kind of morphing into kind of a model of the town, and then you end up in this house and then this big spider crawls on it and you realize it's a model. Genius. I mean, this movie has so many good ideas. It's hard to name them all. If you don't know what the movie's about, it's about this couple who move into this big house in a small town, okay, played by Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, the Maitlands, okay, and they want to start kind of a family there. They want to start a whole new life there, okay. So they're having a good time. They're just very happy. Unfortunately, they drive through this little kind of like wooden bridge, and it starts to break. And unfortunately, the one dog stands on the one plank that can actually like save them, and he jumps off, and they drown. The car crashes through the bridge, and they drown. Then they kind of show up in the house again, and they're like, "What the hell? Why am I? What's going on? Like, what's going on? Like, why is the fireplace on? Like, what is happening?" And they realize that they've died, and this is the afterlife. Okay, they're ghosts, basically. So they find this book, the book of the recently deceased, not diseased, deceased, and it kind of like tells them what they need to do. But they don't really kind of read into it straight away. They kind of just like, what the hell is this, you know? And then they try to get out of the house, and these giant worms pop out, and there's like it's all sand out there. It's like Dune. I just I just love the idea that the afterlife. If you're a ghost, you're stuck in this house, and if you try to get out, it for whatever reason, it's it's Dune out there, but it's like a Tim Burtonized version of Dune. Now I kind of want to see that. I want to see Tim Burton's Dune, you know. But obviously they should have read the book, because what happens is time works completely differently when you're a ghost. Like it goes by way faster. Like they know, like this family just moves into their house, and they're like, "What the hell's going on? What is actually going on?" And the family is kind of like this eccentric family from the city. You've got this woman played by Catherine O'Hara, who is very eccentric, and she's this artist, well, wannabe artist, and she's already kind of remodeling the whole house. You know, like has a specific color palette. She walks around with her friend Otho, who is also this kind of arty douchebag dude, played by Glenn Shaddix, who is underrated in this movie. No one ever talks about Otho, but he is easily one of the best part of the movie. Okay, I've always loved this character. I always thought he was hilarious, and he is awesome in this movie. He deserved better. Otho deserved better. And you've got Jeffrey Jones, who's the husband, but he's kind of like settling down. Like he doesn't deal with any of this arty shit. He just want to like sit at his desk and do bird watching. That's all he wants to. He just wants to relax. But he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. Their daughter is Lydia, played by Winona Ryder in her breakout role, and she's this kind of goth, young girl whose mother died, and Catherine O'Hara is the stepmom, of course, and there's a conflict there, and she's just kind of like, she's sort of suicidal, but not really. It's kind of a cry for help, you know. Clearly, she just wants some attention from her parents, and she's struggling to move on after her mother's death. And what turns out to happen is the Maitlands can be seen by Lydia. They're ghosts, but Lydia can see them for some reason, and it's because she is, you know, herself strange. Apparently, if you're like strange enough, like you can kind of see ghosts. Okay, and because the Maitlands are not happy with the changes to the house that the new family wants to make, because honestly, like, even though they're ghosts and they understand that pretty quickly, they're like, I mean, what does that really change? We can still live out our lives, you know, we can still be together and do whatever we want to do. So that's what they do. They just kind of settle in. They're like, all right, let's hang out, you know, like it's not a big deal. But they didn't think about the time passing, the house, you know, being owned by someone else, all that stuff. So now that they want to kind of get that family out. And they have something in common with Lydia, because she doesn't want to be here. She doesn't want to be here. And she's kind of like rebelling against her parents. So she wants to help the Maitlands, the ghosts, to haunt the house enough to like get them out. Okay? Or like scare them at least. Unfortunately, they suck. Like they don't know what they're doing. Okay? So this strange being shows up called Beetlejuice. Okay, who is Michael Keaton. And Michael Keaton is a freaking god in this movie. It's not his breakout role, but he is awesome. Okay, he's caked in makeup. He looks foul. He's got the green kind of fluffy hair. He's got like a bunch of like green drool over his face. He's just a repulsive character, but he is hilarious. This is really like the funniest Michael Keaton's ever been. And you know what? Tim Burton is one of those only kind of directors who really saw the potential in Michael Keaton as a comedian. Because Michael Keaton, you know, when he was in comedies back in the day, was funny as hell. Not even just back in the day. If you see him in something like The Other Guys, he steals the show, that movie, effortlessly. He's not even like really trying, but he's amazing. And he's one of those actors that I think is just like so underrated as a comedian. Like Tom Hanks as well, right? Tom Hanks in dramatic roles is kind of like, okay. But in freaking comedies, he's awesome. He is hilarious. So, yeah, same with George Clooney. So, I think Michael Keaton had the time of his life in this movie, clearly. And he is this bio-exorcist. He wants to help the Maitlands and Lydia. But really, he has his own goals in mind. Like, he's got a shady ulterior motive. He's kind of taking advantage of Lydia's naivete, and he wants to make the most of it. So he tries to get Lydia to say his name 3 times. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Got kind of a Candyman thing going on there, / like Bloody Mary, you know. And he manages to get her to say his name 3 times after he can't say his own name, so he has to make her guess. There's a lot of rules to this afterlife stuff that Tim Burton introduced, which are just so goddamn clever. It just works so well. Like everything from the Book of the Recently Deceased to they have to draw a door to get to the kind of like DMV of the afterlife, dude. Like when you actually like go to the afterlife, it is literally just a DMV. Like you queue, you like sit there, you've got like a little ticket. You've got your number, you go to like the desk, etc., and then you get an appointment. It's so funny. It's so clever. Like the kind of office, like the kind of mundane system that's in the afterlife is so hilarious. But at the same time, you've got everyone looks crazy. There's a guy who's like a shrunken head. There's like skeletons handing you files. It's genius, and it's one of the best depictions of the afterlife I've ever seen in movies. Like 100%. And yeah, like it feels really expansive as well. Even though this movie didn't have like, you know, like a ridiculous budget, it really makes the most of the money that it has and creates this kind of expansive world that you just like, you really like drawn into. Beetlejuice is very effective at what he does. Like if he wants to scare people, he can do it. Oh, he can do it. But he is dangerous. Like he's really dangerous. He almost kills like the family. Like the one time that he's unleashed upon the family, like he turns into a giant snake, freaks everybody out, almost kills the dad like by falling down the stairs, etc. And Lydia realizes very quickly this dude is unhinged. You know, so the Maitlands have to kind of draw a door. They finally read the book of the recently deceased. The wall opens up and they go through to the afterlife DMV where they kind of learn what's going on, what they're meant to do. And the old lady, this chain-smoking old lady, explains to them, like she's kind of annoyed at them because they didn't read the book earlier. Understandably so, because a lot of the mess wouldn't have happened. You know, she tells them about Beetlejuice, that you can't trust this guy. Beetlejuice is a big problem. Like, do not deal with this guy. This guy's out of his freaking mind. And he is, clearly. Yeah, so then they're kind of encouraged to get that family out of the house themselves if they want to do it. You know, like they can morph their faces into like crazy, like freaking Gina Davis like opens her entire mouth like this and they become, and Alec Baldwin pulls his face forward and they look like complete freaks. And, you know, then they try to obviously get the family out. And there's an iconic sequence where Catherine O'Hara, everybody else is at dinner, and suddenly they become possessed. They manage to possess everyone at the table into singing the Banana Boat song, okay? And it is one of the funniest scenes in movies, like full stop. Like it just is. It's so iconic. It's so unique. It's the kind of scene where when you know it's coming in the movie, like there's kind of like a silence almost before it happens. You know what I mean? Before it happens, you kind of like, you anticipate it. You know something good is coming up. And then it happens and you're like, hell yeah. You know, like it really pays off. And the end of the movie is actually pretty intense. Like it's funny throughout. Don't get me wrong. Like it's really funny throughout. But like the way the Maitlands are kind of like being used by Beetlejuice, etc. Even like the way the Maitlands are being kind of exercised by the family, which is kind of it's kind of a disturbing scene when you're watching it as a little kid because they get older and all, like they're like falling apart and stuff. So there's a lot at stake in this movie, and you're kind of like you understand when Lydia is like hiring the help of Beetlejuice at the end because you gotta do something, right? Unfortunately, again, he's got his ulterior motive, which is to marry Lydia, which is bizarre. Michael Keaton is so good in this movie. He doesn't even have that much screen time, but he makes he's so good in the short amount of time that he has that he stands out so much and steals the show so much that you don't even notice he's not in the movie that much, because there's kind of a huge build up to him where you see parts of him like reading a newspaper, you hear him talk a little bit, he's like this is gonna be good, and this classic line, like, it's showtime, like every line that Beetlejuice says is just priceless. Okay, and this is, for me, this is the ultimate kind of Tim Burton movie, because he's never been, I want to say he's never been as creative as he is in this movie. Okay, like this is the golden era of Tim Burton in my book. You know, he's never been as creative as he was in this movie and Edward Scissorhands. I think, you know, he went all out in terms of like creating these wild characters and the story, and like the kind of merging of Danny Elfman's kind of like piano score, which has kind of like a southern twang to it for some reason, crossed with Calypso and Banana Boat song. Dude, this is such a wild mishmash of stuff, and it ends up just feeling so unique. Yeah, I mean, just the creation of the Beetlejuice character with the whole kind of iconography, like the whole look of it. And this is one of those scripts that Tim Burton picked that is really, really solid. You can tell that every line on the page, every page is just like freaking, sharp and very, like, very funny. And it's, this is why Tim Burton these days is kind of struggling a little bit to stay relevant, because he's not picking, the best scripts, especially in something like Dumbo, which also starred Michael Keaton. There was so much potential there, but the script is just like, it's not good enough. He's not picking scripts that are good enough. That's it. But he got lucky with this script, because holy moly, is that the perfect comedy script. And it's one of the most perfect comedies out there, honestly. It's so funny throughout. The cast is incredible. Like, even like merging these cast members together, you got like naturally funny, kind of sketch comedy geniuses like Catherine O'Hara in there, who bring like enough eccentricity to it. You've got Michael Keaton, who is just like this kind of serious actor who's also just naturally hilarious. You've got Winona Ryder, who brings kind of a certain innocence to things, but her performance as a kind of child actor, right? I don't know how old she was in that movie. Her performance is awesome. Like, it's so good. It's maybe her best performance ever, honestly. Like, it's so hard with child actors, and Tim Burton has not been lucky with this over the years, okay? Like, the kids from, Miss Peregrine's, okay. The kids from Dumbo, not that good. Like, he's struggled with that a little bit. This like the cast from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, they're okay again, but not quite there, right? Lydia, wow, what a performance! Like, really underrated performance, honestly. I would almost say, like, this movie, like, if comedies got any respect at the Oscars, this movie should have got a bunch of them. There's a bunch of nominations you can have here. Okay, you can have Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress. There's some really good stuff in it, and everybody fits. Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin give the most kind of restrained performance in the movie, but they present such a perfect contrast between just kind of normalcy and the kind of afterlife world, and then the way they embrace it at the end is just like so perfect. Look, I'm biased because it's one of my favorite movies. Okay, I've seen this movie many times. It's the kind of movie, like, it's like a roller coaster ride. You just put it on and you're gonna have fun, and you do every time. Every single time. I liked it more when I was a kid, watching it on like video, because nowadays with the DVDs and etc., like, you see more and more of the image, which is not good, because now I can see the strings when Beetlejuice is flying around. So I'm kind of like missing the old days where I could watch the movie in kind of a darker state, but I never noticed anything like that. So I miss that version of the movie. I hope they kind of like they do a version of this movie where like the final cut, the Blade Runner final cut, where they kind of tweak a few things here and there. But it's not that bad, honestly. Like, that's the one thing about this movie. It's dated a little bit with all the advances in technology, etc. But it still holds up. This movie still holds up. I watched it not even that long ago. Yeah, Beetlejuice, one of the best and most creative comedies ever. And in terms of ghost movies, one of the best ghost movies ever as well. Tim Burton, one of the best Tim Burton movies, 100%. Maybe his most creative movie. Yeah, I would say that. It might be his most creative and clever kind of movies. This is the kind of movie I want Tim Burton to make now. And I think the closest he's come to that is Frankenweenie, which was his own kind of creation. We came close to that in Frankenweenie, but man, I need another movie like that. I don't want any more Tim Burton adaptations, okay? I'm good. I've seen them. I want to see Wednesday. I'm sure it'll be good, but I want to see just some original ideas from Tim Burton, something like Beetlejuice, because, yeah, it's so unique. It's so wild. It's so funny. And it's such an experience. It's such a trip, like, and it's way better than the Broadway musical, although I did enjoy that as well. Completely different. This movie's way better. This movie merges the kind of the silliness and just goofy humor with kind of a much darker edge. It deals with death. It deals with the kind of sleaziness of Beetlejuice. It's kind of like, it's not really a kids movie, but it is, it's a very edgy kids movie. It's got some dark stuff in there. It's, in my book, it's one of Tim Burton's masterpieces. Of course, I recommend it. It's highly recommended. It's one of the movies I recommend the most. It's one of my favorite comedies ever. Watch it, enjoy it, and it's actually a decent movie to watch around Halloween. So, yeah, if you've never seen it, now is the time. Okay, it's probably very easy to find. I think it might even be on Netflix. So check it out. It's Beetlejuice. Yeah, you gotta watch Beetlejuice. Sorry. I mean, come on. Come on.